Hey everyone, welcome back to another tutorial. In this one, we are going to model these unfunctional but very cool looking mechanical objects. This is the final result. Let me show you the wireframes. Now, let's get into the tutorial. My first object is going to be a cylinder, as you can guess. Let's rotate it. Then I will remove these height segments, then set this to 6. I will come over here to the coordinates and rotate it 30 degrees to match it to the shape in the image. Next step, I'm going to hit W to go into the coordinates again. Now I will select the rotate tool. I will hit W again, hold down Control, then hold down Shift. I will stop at 90 degrees. I will select this new cylinder and remove that rotation amount. Now let's increase up the segments to something like 60. Let's adjust the size. Now we need to match the crossing edges. So I will come over here again and try to increase that up to something like 20. Perfect. Now I will go into model mode again, hold down Control, scale it down, or let's select the cylinder and go to the attributes and change the radius of it only. Move it up. 20 is going to be too much, so let's go down to 10. Again, I will try to match these crossing edges, so I will move that up. It doesn't have to be perfect. Actually, it is going to be much better if you don't match these crossing edges perfectly. The reason is I will be using a Boolean object, and Boolean object doesn't like perfectly crossing points or edges. So this is looking just perfect. I will make this cylinder editable. Double click on these edges. I'm going to hold down Control and slide these down. I'm sorry, I should have selected these ones as well. Slide tool, hold down Control. This will allow me to grab these polygons and move these down. Next up, I will drop in a loop right in the middle. Then I will select that loop. Just double click on one of the edges. Let's turn this off. Now I will open up the coordinate manager, set this to world, and zero out the Y position and size. This is going to allow us to mirror this on the other side. Next up, let me select these two, connect objects and delete. I want to bridge these polygons. I have 2 polygons on that cylinder, but only a single one on that shape. So I'm going to drop in a loop. Now I have 2 polygons on each side, which means that I could bridge them. Right click, bridge, and connect these matching points. Now let's try to simplify the process as much as possible. This is going to be the main idea of this tutorial. Let's not forget these points. But before doing that, I should have a loop cut right in the middle of the world that goes through the z-axis. So loop cut tool, hold down Shift, add this one in, and delete these points. To make sure you can select these, come over to the coordinates and find the proper axis, in this case X, and zero these out. Now let's mirror this around, hold down Alt, add this one in, the Symmetry Object. I will enable them all. I'm sorry, I should delete that symmetry because first I need to fix the origin of this object. If I go to the right view, as you can see, it is way off. It should be right in the middle of the world. So I will enable axis mode, come over here to the world coordinates and zero these out, X, Z, and Y. Now the origin of this object is right in the middle of the world. Hold down Alt, add this symmetry in again, and enable these options. Perfect. I will also enable the welt option, which will give us a single object when I make this symmetry editable. It is time to merge these 2 objects. I will select the cylinder, hold down Alt, drop this one into a bool, then put that cylinder under the first cylinder, the original cylinder. I will change its type to union, and this is going to be it. Let's make this editable. I'm sorry, make sure that you have this option enabled. Otherwise, it's going to give you two objects. Now I will make this editable. Next step, I will grab polygon pen tool and add these edges in. I want this kind of edges that goes through right in the middle of the world, which will allow us to mirror this object. I will select this again because I need to zero this out on the y-axis, both position and size. Now polygon pen tool again, I will connect these two. I will select this. This time I will come over to the Z and zero these out. And this is going to be it. Now I will start to delete some points. I mean, parts of the mesh. Next up, I will try to correct the topology. So I will call my best friend polygon pen tool and start from here. Or you know what? I believe I could drop in a loop. Yeah, perfect. So basically, I added that loop around the detail so that I will be able to preserve the detail. Like I can move that point anywhere I want without changing the detail. Next, I will add that edge in and connect it onto that one, then get rid of that edge. Another one over here. Now I will add these vertical edges. Next, this one to this one, and that one to that one. Perfect. Now we have all quads except for these triangles, but don't worry about them as these are on a flat surface. Now I will drop in a loop cut right in the middle by holding shift and increase that up to 2. Another one over here. It doesn't work, which means that there is something on the way, an n-gun or an empty point. Yes, this one. So a loop cut, polygon pen tool, and connect these two. Now I will try to do that again. Yes, it works. I will set this to 2. I'm just trying to even out the surface by adding these extra loops. Now I will add that loop in, increase that up to say 4. It is time to put this one under a SubD. Firstly, I will check the wireframes. Everything is looking just perfect, no problem at all. Now let's try to sharpen up the edges. So I will double click on this slide tool, Alt and Control, and clone these in. Hit Q. I will add these ones as well. And then we need to sharpen up these edges as well. Double click, Alt and Control, and move this down. Now I will grab right selection tool, Alt and Control, and deselect these edges. Then move these down because this is a curved surface. That edge loop will tighten up this area. If I enable SubD, you'll see what I'm talking about. We do not want that, so I will move these down to even out the polygons. Now I will double click on these edges and clone them by holding Control. Next up, I will grab polygon pen tool and add these edges in to tighten up that area. Get rid of that H, hit Q. Nice. Next, I will do the same thing over here. Now what we can do about this, I will just move them around and connect them to random edges. While we are here, let's select these edges and bevel them in solid modes. I will set this to uniform, hit Ctrl Z and do it one more time. Hit Q. I will merge that one to that one, and we are all set up. I will Again, put this one under a symmetry. Something is not right. I believe it is because the origin of that object is off. So I'm going to hit W to go into object coordinates, and yeah. So I will enable access mode, come over here and set this to 0. Now I will drop in another symmetry, delete the other one, hold down Alt, get this one in. Now it should work. Perfect. I will enable them all again. It's N and B. Let's enable SubD. I should enable welt option. Click off, orbit around. Yeah, no problem at all. I'll just double click on these edges and hold and control. Clone these. Let me tweak the mesh just a little bit more. So let's select these ones, move this down. Then I will select these two, select these edges and apply equal spacing tool. By the way, you are free to adjust these edges even further to even out these polygon sizes. I just want to speed up the pace. But as I said, you are very welcome to, move these around to make the mesh as uniform as possible. But right now, the current state of the mesh is looking quite well. I will make the symmetry editable. The reason is it is time to add in these circular details. This is something that you should do at the very end of the process. So I will make this symmetry editable. And let's start with these ones. I will select these. I will make an inset first and apply fit circle tool. Now I will move on with the scale tool, hold down control, scale these in, then move these on the X. Another extrusion, hold down control, scale these in. I will move these on the X. This is going to be the last one. I will make an inset and drop in a loop. Or let's do that later. I don't need to do that on the other side as I can mirror this easily. Now let's select these polygons in the middle. I know I have some angles, but don't worry. I will make an inset first, then apply the fit circle tool. I will use the scale tool again to extrude things around. Move these on the Z. Another one. T, scale this in slightly, then move these out. Scale the polygons. Scale tool. One more time. Scale in. Alt and Control. This time around, let's zero out the Z position and delete these polygons. All right, now let's drop this one into another symmetry. This time around, I will do it differently. I will enable the welt option, but in addition, I will enable remove outside, which will override the mesh. Let's turn this off. So we added that detail on the plus side of the x-axis. So I should enable plus to minus. Then I added that detail on the minus side of the z. So I should enable minus to plus. Let's see. Yes, perfect. For the y-axis, we do not anything to mirror. So I will just make this symmetry editable, or you can keep the symmetry alive. I will just move this up, delete that null, and enable SubD. Something is not right here. I believe I can get rid of these edges in the middle by increasing up the threshold. Let's try 0.5. Yeah. Enable SubD again to detect any kind of artifacts. Now I will make this symmetry editable. Delete that null. I want to select these edges with loop selection tool. Then, I'm sorry, I forgot to include these ones. Right click, bevel. I will go into solid mode, set this to uniform, Control Z and do it one more time. Perfect. Now I want to add in these little details. First, I will select these polygons, inset, circle tool. That circle is looking weird because, yeah, the numbers are not even. I have 10 edges, but it is not symmetrical. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 edges on that side and 3 edges on that side, so it's quite natural. I don't think it's going to do anything bad, so I will move on with these ones. And set, move this on the X, another one, the last insets. To tighten up these edges, let me select them with loop selection tool and bevel them in solid mode. With Q, I will group up the selection. It seems like it is not centered, the detail, this circle, but this one is looking quite well. Next up, I could select this and make it inset, or first let me duplicate that detail around again, because that circle is right in the middle. Cylinder, symmetry, weld, remove outside. First, we will need to mirror it on the Z, then on the Y. And lastly, on the X. I will make it editable. Lastly, we could select them all, make an inset, fit circle tool, another inset, hit T and scale this on the X. Now I will grab these loops by holding Shift. By the way, you can hit V anytime to grab selection tools. We select and find the selection tool you will use. If you don't know the shortcuts, you can always hit V and go to select. Next, I will sharpen these up with Bevel tool again, hit Q. Finally, let's do something about that guy. It is looking lonely over here. I should connect it to somewhere. By the way, this is not necessary as this is on a flat surface, but let me correct it. I can connect that to that one, then that one to that one. I will open control, get rid of this one. By doing so, I will be able to dissolve these out and I will have all quads. Do I need to do that on the other sections? No, because I have this symmetry tool. Enable these options. I will delete these, use close polygon tool, grid, patch, rotate it around. Finally, let's drop a default material on the mesh. Create standard one, put it on. I will basically set this to 20. Enable SubD. Looks perfect. This is going to be it. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, just let me know anytime. If you want to see more this kind of practice tutorials and videos, you can check out my Patreon anytime. And I will see you in the next ones. Have a good one.